Hello, everyone. Welcome to September. August was kind of a long ride. There was like 1 week where all the crazy happened. It all got resolved, but there was a lot that went down that week. And yeah, it kind of was like the next week was recovery from the previous week as I left August, but it's over. Yay! So, for more in-depth guidance like this, check out the Cosmic Shadow Light Forecast. It's a monthly membership. You can buy annual, which saves you a little bit of dough. Always nice to save a little bit of cash. You get a collective reading, a monthly PDF on how crystal ideas for crystal grids, tarot spread, lots of fun stuff in there. It's jam-packed, the PDF is. Plus, you get access to workshops, rituals, things like that. And in the upcoming year, the rituals are going to be only for the Cosmic Shadow Light people. And kind of pulling back and putting that more into a targeted place of narrowing down things. 'Cause there's a lot going on and there's only so much time and bandwidth I have as a human being to do things in the world. Working on Cosmic Earth Allies in our class. So excited about it. This is Stone Woman working with stones from the earth. And so like things like this, these take time. They're fun to do, but they take time. The editing process for our videos is probably the least fun part of it. Also, in other news, affirmation decks are back up. There's 5 listed. So if you're been wishing you picked one up, go get them now. I don't know when I have a few more in stock that I made, but I have no idea when I'll be listing them after these 5 are gone. Kind of just doing it when I feel like doing it. So pop on over and take a gander. The decks are out there. They're all hand painted. They're all different. There's no 2 decks alike. Everyone who bought one can get together and compare their decks, and they won't be the same. Similar, because I created them, but not the same. So, okay. Also, YouTube's taking a little bit different turn for me. I've been pulling back just a little, once again, that time thing, and feeling like a little stressed and overwhelmed and burdened. So pulling back a little on some of my social media platforms. I've been really active on Instagram. I'm loving Instagram right now. So if you want to catch me more, check me out on Instagram. I've been over there a bunch more than really any of my other social media main hangouts. So I have the Unfinished Tarot and the Holly Simple Tarot. Unfinished Tarot is really more Oracle deck. I think they did a very limited edition run of this, so I don't know if they still have any. Ooh, and then Netflix. Just one more. I love this deck. It's very pop culture, so it's kitschy and it's a fun deck. And I find that, like, even though it's fun and kitschy, that it really does bring a real great, it's very meaningful and applicable, and I always like that. So, the Netflix, just one more. That's what that little blurb says. So, I always feel like the Netflix is kind of 2 things for me. And usually a lot of times I feel like the Netflix is like, oh, you need to chill and you need the just one more. Right now it's feeling like you need to ask yourself, are you on a default Netflix watching, streaming, whatever your whatchamacallit is, thing, binge, what's the word I'm looking for? Jag, that's the word. Are you on a streaming jag of just streaming because that's your default. And you're going to relax because your default is to stream whatever program you're watching that day and then watch all of it that day. And is that form of relaxation working out? Or are you just on a default? This is reminding us that every once in a while we need to check in with ourselves and say, ooh, what's my default? And is it working out? And if it's not, maybe you need to look at some other things. Are you watching TV and not doing other things you enjoy? That's what you need to look at. Are you stuck in a rut of just one more? Oh yeah, it's midnight, but just one more. Never mind, I gotta be up early for work tomorrow. Just one more. How is your relaxation becoming a problem? Oh, I might sneeze here. I might not. That's what you're looking at. Not. So reevaluate this and take it even just out of what you're using for relaxation into other things in your life. How do you interact with people? How do you react to certain situations? What are you doing there? And is it working? Reevaluation has come to the forefront a lot. And I think part of that is Uranus going into retrograde and that awakening of needing to wake up and get a little shaken up, even shake up your life to get that your life flowing, your energy flowing, your blood flowing. So where's the ruts? Are you stuck in them? Are you just one more in? Because, it's so relaxing just to sit there and think, gosh, or in your bed or wherever you watch your programs. Reevaluate. Awaken to what's working, awaken to what's not working, and move on from there. Create new ways of being. Oh, Holly Simple Tarot. This is one of my favorite decks. She's quirky. I want to get her other. She has a fuzzy prism, and there might be another one out there she's made. It's been a while. I love her decks. I like her aesthetic. And her book shows her process. And I always love books that show process of things. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Okay. So, alrighty. Let's put things back in little bags. And all the affirmation decks come with little bags that I made for them, much like these. Made this one, made this one, made this one. So all your decks are like, this is mine. I'm on a tangent here. So here's my affirmation deck I kept for myself. So I get it back and some cards. Yes, I kept one of the decks for myself. So I made I made a prototype, and the words were too small. I love my prototype, but I also decided to keep one of the real ones. And that was my favorite. So, okay, now that we've digressed, because what's a digression? What's this without a digression? So, 6. Okay. So we have the Devil and the 6 of Cups. And I'm going to take I'm not feeling like the lost in illusion, make merry for you die. What I feel is that kind of like what Satan comes from a word that means adversary. Where do you need to show up and be willful? Where do you need to push the buttons to get things to change? Go out there and be willful in September. That means setting boundaries. What? No, you want me to bake you 100 cupcakes? No. Not unless you want to. You can negotiate that. No, I can't do 100 cupcakes, but I can do, 2 trays of brownies, 2 pans of brownies, whatever. But that's where you know your boundary. Being willful means you know your boundaries and what you're willing to take on, what you're not willing to take on, where you need to focus your energies, which projects, which issues do you want to laser focus on? Because there's a lot of issues out there right now. There's a lot of issues worldwide. And the collective energy is very tense because we don't know what's going to happen. A lot of weird stuff is going down that has never happened before. Well, it may have happened before, but not recently, not in the modern era, in the 21st century, in this way. So where do you need to be willful? Where do you need to act willfully to keep your rights? Where do you need to act willfully to save your planet? Where do you need to act willfully and figure out what trees you're going to plant in your yard, because those are good local staples? Like, for example, at one point in time in Salt Lake City, where I used to live, it was Chinese elm, I think. Chinese elm. Very popular. Propagates via suckers. Stuff is harder than heck to remove from your yard. Once you realize that you're going to be taken over by Chinese elms, it's very virulent. You don't want to plant that tree. Like, if I was to go plant a tree in my yard, I'd be like, I'm going to plant me a pine tree or an aspen tree. I got plenty of trees, so I'm just fostering the trees I currently have. But, so if you're going to plant something, but like wildflower mixes, my God, there's a flower called Hans tongue. And it's pretty. Some people call it beggar's lice too. It has a really pretty purple flower. It creates little seeds that stick onto everything and get carried far distances. It's also a noxious weed. Here, we don't want it grown because it's not a good plant. It's going to take over. And because of how the seeds are, they're all kind of stick to your clothes, they stick to fur. They can go a long way to take over. So a lot of wildflower fixes, it's like, oh, let's plant wildflowers. You'd read through the seeds and hound's tongue. I'm like, why are you even selling this in Park County with a noxious weed in it? I never bought any of them. But people probably have, and people have brought in hound's tongue. Although you started to see a shift a few years ago of responsible wildflowers that don't have hound's tongue mixes. Just because it says wildflowers doesn't mean it's indigenous and a wildflower to your area. Know your plants. Know what you should plant, what you shouldn't plant. And then it doesn't matter if you're rural or urban or somewhere in between in suburbia. Know what you're planting, understand how it works. That's part of the devil, knowing that. Oh, my will is to have a healthy environment. I'm going to be willful about that. I'm going to do my best to support that. So where do you need to be willful? That's what we're looking at. The devil's like, no, I don't think so. Why do you do that? Question, set boundaries, know where you want to put your energies into. And it's kind of like Netflix. It's part of that reevaluating how you're working. Are you functioning well? Are you non-functioning? Are you somewhere in between? Where do you want to be? And, maybe you do need to have some Netflix time. I know over Labor Day weekend, I took me a long weekend because I needed some downtime. I needed a break from the social media. I needed a break. So sometimes, you need to evaluate your status quo and be like, I'm adding an extra day onto that downtime. Okay, so the Six of Cups. So we didn't get the Five of Cups, which is the downer card of the cups, and we didn't get Seven of Cups, which is we're living in illusion. I feel like what we're living in is finding the beauty within, the knowledge within, the wisdom within, and then living from that, of living a life that, I don't want to use the word authentic. It's overused and everyone's like, what if I'm not my authentic self? You are your authentic self. Even when you have to pretend to be someone else, you're still being a version of your authentic self somewhere out there in the universes. What are you putting out? What do you want to put out? it all comes down to a reevaluation of how you're moving through the world, how you're living your life. Is that how you want to live your life, or do you need to change things? I feel like this is a really Uranus retrograde. Uranus is in retrograde until like January 1st, if I remember correctly. There's also a retrograde package. So if that dude's kicking your bum all over the place, go check out the Uranus retrograde forecast. They're affordably priced and they help keep me on track, especially on the ones that I know mess with my life. And if you're a Cosmic Shadowlight member, you already get that. So, yeah, Six of Cups. What do you want your bliss to be? To use a Joseph Campbell word. Follow your bliss. What is your bliss? And in this modern era, we tend to analyze it. What's my bliss? And then there's like this weird kind of progression that doesn't have to happen. You say, it's like, I want to find my bliss. I want to find my one big thing. I found it. Okay. And then there's this push to make that bliss, that one big thing, a profession. To make it into something you monetize, to make money from it. And maybe it's because I hang out with a lot of people who are small business owners and entrepreneurs. But I see is progression of that bliss, make it money, and then not be happy because you just turned your bliss into your job. You don't have to have your bliss be what you do for a living. You can go do whatever you want to make your dough, make your money, so you can live your life and pay your bills. Doesn't have to be your one great passion. Your one great passion can just be a life well lived, if that's what you want it to be. And you don't have to monetize it by becoming a lifestyle whateverist. You can just live it and share it with your friends and family. You don't need to monetize your life, people. Keep that in mind. Like I said, that might just be because I hang out with a lot of people who are in business for themselves and work for themselves. And you see a lot of people who are looking to go into business for themselves, like, oh, what's my bliss? Oh, this is my bliss. Can make money off it. And then they don't want it. I love tarot. I love symbolism. I work with it and other people with my clients because I enjoy it. 2, I'm good at it. And 3, I help them understand their lives better. And that's really the meat of it. The main thing is that helping them see their change, what's going on, how to work with it effectively. And I feel like a lot of this reading, with reevaluating how your chill time is, how you're living your life, bringing in willfulness and setting boundaries to the how do I live this life of beauty, this life of fulfillment, just living the good life as you define it, not someone else, not me, not the other person, how you define how you want to live your life. And taking all of that and looking at how it's working together and how it jives together. And if it's jiving, where you need to pull back, where you need to change, what needs to shift, what needs to be retired or stay the same. What's working, what's not. What do you like, what you don't you like? Of doing this analysis. It makes it sound like hard when I say analysis, doesn't it? At least that's how it feels to me. I'm like, oh, analysis. Oh. Exploration. There we go. Exploration of your life as it currently is. And you don't have to do the whole thing. You can be like, oh, that's what's been bugging. I'm going to explore this part of myself. I'm going to explore this part of my life. I'm going to look at what's making sense, what's not making sense. And if it's emotional, remember, emotions are not rational creatures. They just are. So, yeah. Okie dokie. And some of, what's going on with the evaluation and being willful is in the collective energy that we need to express our willfulness on multiple levels and, do it in what our affirmation card says. Compassion. Being compassionate through this evaluation, this exploration of self is going to take you far. Willful and compassionate, ooh, that's some juicy energy. willful, compassionate, living the best life, being in your bliss and being compassionate with yourself, with others, with the world, with the collective. Ooh, baby, that is some empowerment, and that's what you want to go for. Empower yourself so you can empower others. And this evaluation, this exploration of things that in your life that might feel not so awesome right now, along with Uranus in retrograde, yeah, it's a good place to be. Ooh, juicy reading. So you can always book a reading on the site, and yeah, so much coming up. So go out there and be willful with a compassionate slant and see where it takes you. Use your bliss. Reevaluate. Yeah, I think September has a lot of awesome coming up for us if we want to let it in. Or we can shut it off, shut it down, and ignore it. Which I feel like is going to make things really tight and really hard. Not suggesting you do that. Open up, evaluate, explore. Alrighty, everyone have a wonderful month and go out there and be the love in the world. Bye-bye.